Our topic for today is This is Why God Isn't Answering Yet. The truth about His timing. Join me as I dive deep into the question, does God's timing really matter? I'm going to challenge myself to explore this concept from every angle and share personal insights along the way. God's timing is a concept that affects all of us one way or another. It's about trusting that there's a bigger plan at play, the one we might not fully understand or see right now. For me, this idea has been a journey of learning to let go and have faith. Many of us have been there, praying for something, waiting for a response, and feeling like it's taking forever. We start to wonder if we're doing something wrong, or if God just isn't listening. It's so frustrating and can really be tough to stay positive. The feeling of delay can test our faith and make us question the purpose behind our desires. We might start to doubt whether what we're asking for is even meant to be. It's a valuable plan to be. It's a vulnerable place to be, but it's also an opportunity to grow and deepen our trust. The struggle isn't just about us. It's a universal experience that can bring us together. We're all waiting for something at some point in our lives. And in these moments, we're called to trust in a bigger plan. The Bible is full of stories that illustrate the importance of waiting for God's timing. Take Abraham and Sarah, for example. They waited years and years for a child, and when the timing was right, Isaac was born, changing their lives forever. Their story teaches us that patience and trust are the key. In my own life, I've seen how waiting for the right opportunity or person can lead to something far better than I could ever imagine. It's like the universe had something more in store, something I couldn't have planned for. History is also filled with examples of people who waited for the right moment to act, often with incredible results. Think about Martin Luther King Jr., who waited for the right time to lead the march on Washington, a moment that changed the course of history. Now, before we continue our discussion, let us look at some biblical verses on God's timing before we continue our discussion. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3 says, "For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay." So God's timing, this verse explains to us that God's timing has a prophecy, and those prophecies does not come to life when we want it to, but rather when God wants them. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 31. "For they who wait for the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up on wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and not faint." This verse reminds us to wait for the Lord's plan to be revealed to us and to totally trust God's plan for us. Trusting God without questioning His plan for us will make our faith stronger. Let's look at Psalm 27 verse 14. "Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord." So this psalm encourages us to wait. And what a simple and yet challenging task to wait. Whenever you are impatient in life, always remember that the Bible tells us to wait. We are to wait for God's plan for us. So do not let impatience cause you to miss out on God's plan for your life. Let's look at Ecclesiastes chapter 30 verse 1. "There is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every matter under heaven." This verse reminds us that every moment in life was preordained by God Himself. When times are tough and your feet are under weight of life's problem, always remember that it's all part of God's timing, not your own. First Peter chapter 3 verse 8. Do Do not overlook this one fact, beloved, that with the Lord 1 day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day. So this verse reminds us that God's timing does not match the timing of any man or woman. What you may perceive as timeless, God sees as 1 day or 1,000 years. You cannot perceive how God sees the world, thus attempting to control its futility. Instead, we must submit to God's plan with the understanding that He knows more than us. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, plans on welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. This Bible verse reminds us that the Lord's plan is to protect you and provide happiness and hope for your future. Lamentation chapter 3 verse 26. It is good that one should hope and wait patiently for the salvation of the Lord. So this Bible verse is a great encouragement to help us cultivate patience in life. If you're always agitated and frustrated with the Lord, try to wait patiently and quietly. Acts chapter 1 verse 8. He said to them, it is not for you to know times or epochs which the Father has fixed by His own authority. This verse is a simple reminder that there's a season and time for everything. You see, in life, you won't always be able to perceive God's greater plan, but you can begin to accept that the authority of the Lord is good and just and true. Just and true are the ways of our God. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11. He made everything beautiful in His time. Also, He has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. This verse reminds us that God made the entire universe, and that you should remember that you are part of the universe too, and that everyone and everything is made by the Lord is beautiful. Remember that you are beautifully made by God, and that He loves you so much. Proverbs 3 verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. So this verse reminds us that a man's trouble is that he attempts to understand God's timing in his own terms. So even when the human mind cannot understand God's ways, even though the human mind cannot understand God's ways, so we must always remember to trust in God instead of our own understanding of the world. Psalm 37 verse 7. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Fret not yourself over the one who prospers in his way, over the one who carries out evil devices. So when you see, this verse reminds us that when you see evil around you, do not let that shake your faith. Wait patiently for the day you will meet the Lord in heaven. Galatians 4 verse 4. When the fullness of time had come, God sent forth His Son, born of woman, born under the law. The Lord waited until the time was right to send His Son, Jesus Christ, to save you from your sins. As part of His ultimate plan, God knew the perfect timing for the birth of Jesus. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 6. Humble yourself therefore under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time He might exalt you. God will do everything at the perfect time, even if the time doesn't seem right to you. If you are impatient to receive a reward, always remember to wait for God's timing. Now, let us pause here and look at some relatable examples on God's timing. Number 1, career changes. Imagine you're being unhappy and unfulfilled about a particular job, praying for a change constantly, submitting numerous applications to different jobs, but facing a prolonged unemployment. During this time, you might begin to feel a lot more discouraged, but you need to use this time to invest in your personal development, acquire new skills, and even deepen your faith in the Lord. Finally, you receive that job offer that is better than what you could ever imagine. perfectly lines up with your passion and skills. This is showcasing that God's timing in preparing you, this is a showcasing of God's timing in preparing you and the circumstance surrounding it. Number 2, navigating relationships. Perhaps you're longing for a meaningful relationship, but despite all your effort, you still remain single. Instead of rushing or settling down with just about anyone who doesn't align with your values, you choose to trust God's timing. And you use this time and season to focus on self-improvement, strengthening of your relationship with God, and pursuing your passion. Now, when the time is right, the right person eventually enters your life. It's a testament of God's careful orchestration and your patience. Number 3, healing and recovery. Consider a situation when you or loved one faced a serious illness or injury, and the recovery process is very slow and challenging. You have been praying for healing and strength, but you learn that God's timing might involve a prolonged period of waiting. So during this time, you experience a spiritual growth, discovering new sources of encouragement and comfort. You might even find purpose in helping others facing similar struggle. When healing does come, it brings not only physical restoration, but also deeper understanding of God's plan and faithfulness. Number 4, facing financial setbacks. Sometimes financial difficulties or setbacks beyond one's control can occur. Trusting God's timing means believing He will provide for the needs at the appropriate time. This may involve unexpected opportunities, receiving support, or even learning contentment. Reflecting on these experiences may reveal God's timing orchestrated events to bring about positive outcome. Now, let us continue our discussion on God's timing. So what's the takeaway here? How can we apply all this to our lives? When we are forced to wait, it's easy to get very discouraged. But what if we viewed waiting as a chance to prepare, reflect, and grow? Trusting in God's timing means embracing the unknown and finding peace in the present moment. It's all about letting go of our needs to control everything and simply trusting that there's a purpose behind the pause. This mindset shifts can lead to unexpected blessings and personal growth. When we are not focused on getting what we want right now, we open up ourselves to new experiences and opportunities. In reflecting on God's timing, I'm reminded that not just about the end result, but also about who we become in the process. The journey with all these twists and turns shapes us in ways we can't imagine. To wrap things up, let's always remember that God's timing is at work in our lives, even when we can't see it. It's an invitation to trust, wait, and see the beauty that unfolds. If you've ever struggled with trusting in God's timing, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Your stories can inspire and encourage others. Also, check out my video on finding purpose in the pause for more insights on this topic. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to be a blessing to someone today. God bless you.